And we are live up in this thing. Want
Hey,
to welcome
hey,
everyone
hey.
out to Wizzo Talk. I appreciate y'all tapping in. First, I'm gonna give a shout out to all of my let me move that out the way because all of my subscribers. I appreciate y'all support, all of my future subscribers, and like y'all all remember that it's absolutely free, 100% free to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate y'all support. Tap on in, post any comments in the comment section, and I'll share them on the screen. We'll see about trying to go and get to those comments and everything like that. So I appreciate you guys, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna go around, we're gonna meet our guests, and then we're gonna get this thing running and going and going on. So first off, I'm gonna come on at you right there, Melvin. Come on with it.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing this evening?
All right, brother.
I'm Mel. I'm Mel Derrico. Somewhat frequent guest of the show. It's been a while, but happy to see y'all and super glad to be back. And a lot has happened since I've last been on the show, so looking forward to get into it.
All right. Hey, Melvin, before we go, man, you ain't told them, you're a comedian, the normal shit you usually say. What's up?
Oh, right. Man, I just rushed to get in the house, man. I'm just glad I made it. I'm kind of like Kamala at this point. I'm just happy to be here. No, yeah, I'm a stand-up comedian out of South Florida. New dad, almost a year on parenthood, and frequent shit talker. So looking forward to getting into that,
All right. That's what's up. Appreciate it. OB, what you got for us, man?
Hey, your favorite All-American, RVB Baker Jr., 20-year retired Army veteran. Currently doing consultant work as Amalig Group Consulting. Also a frequent bullshitter, tooth chipper. But I'm here to have some fun, y'all.
All right. RV, I gotta hit you though. You didn't say nothing about the documentary though. You didn't say nothing about
Okay,
that.
I didn't want to take up too much, but I'll go ahead and
Okay,
get that
please follow the
plug.
introduction.
Appreciate it. I'm also a new digital cinematographer, storyteller. I'm doing a documentary on the only memorial in America that's dedicated to survivors of sexual violence. It's called the Survivors Memorial, and I'm looking to have it out for viewing next April, which is also Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
That's what's up. And come on up to my partner JP. What you got, JP?
Jason Payne, previous guest, one of the first few shows, but I hadn't been back since. The schedule won't line up. But I'll be watching these brothers talk and chop it up. So I'm glad I could be here and contribute a little bit that I got. That's about all. I'm not as involved as a lot of these other brothers moving and shaking. I'm doing my thing too. So
Right. All right. Thank you, Seven. Come on with it, Seven.
Yo, much bliss. Is your boy 7 Points of Bliss, aka Pomegranate Samurai. Y'all can Google me at After Real Truth. Check out some of my art. You can check out my podcast on Spotify. Cosmic Currency 777 is the name. You can also check out Wizzo Talk on Spotify as well. And it's just an honor to be here with you gentlemen yet again.
All right. That's what's up. Guys, we got the good and the bad. Project 2025 in our own words. I want to say first, guys, I thank y'all and appreciate you guys for coming on and appreciate you wholeheartedly for being on time. Melvin, you was just right there in the cut. So you good, bro. Appreciate you.
I try anytime.
Clutch.
All right. So what I'm gonna do, guys, I want to read y'all something first that I sent to this one guy, and I'm gonna tell you guys, I am way out of my element in this project 2025. It's been coming across my feed a lot, so you guys are way more knowledgeable in it than I am, I'm sure. But I'm gonna read you this right quick from a guy that I invited on the show, and then we're gonna come at. I'm gonna hit up one of you guys for not only comments on that if you want to, but just to talk about 2025, and we'll work our way around the room. So this is what I sent to one guy. Project 2025. You know anything about that? I'm thinking about having a podcast on it. So his reply is from a think tank. It's like 2 years old, mostly fake. And trust me, Trump has absolutely zero to do with it. Attaching his name to it is a social media hoax that from some reason has spread. It's all fake though. And then I hit that guy back and I say, I didn't ask you anything about Trump. I just asked you about Project 2025 and you didn't got on Trump dick, so that makes me think maybe he did have something to do with it. So that was my kind of reply. So, and I must say, I have no idea where you guys stand, who you guys strongly support. I don't know, but that guy there is a die-hard Trump fan, period. So what I like to do right now is I'm gonna come on over to Melvin and let you tell me whatever it is, or tell the world whatever it is you like to share about Project 2025. Hit me up.
So I kind of don't believe any of it to have any fruition going forward. I think this is one of those things where it's promotional. Every president, for the most part, when they're running a campaign, they have to sell what they're going to do. And this seems to me as it's no different than the MAGA hat, right? It was, as a business guy, he's going, how can we get the people? And honestly, I think it's genius. Do I think he actually gives a fuck about any of it on there? Absolutely not. Do I think he cares about ending books about slavery being taught in African American studies and banning Muslims and, getting on single mothers and having the more traditional I think he cares less about that shit. I think it's his research team probably looking at what people argue on Twitter the most about, and they found a completely inept list on something that'll grab people's attention. But I don't think any of that is on the forefront of his forehead going at all.
Okay. Anybody?
Yeah, I'd say I agree with you on that. The only thing I would add to that is I believe the people that are the most involved with it are the big donors. And I think like 7 people from his old cabinet have something to do with that Project 2025. But like you said, it's one of those things that's genius because it galvanizes the little core that he has to believe that they're doing something worthwhile for America. But as far as Trump's concerned, in my humble opinion, he can give 2 cents about it because his whole thing is I need to get into the White House so I can get these charges off. That's the only reason he wants to be president again, to dust these charges. He don't care about all that stuff. And if people are going to give him money to say Project 2025 is next thing, he's going to take it.
7?
Man, hey, I know we all, when we were young children, man, we watched like the cartoons with the superheroes fighting the bad guys, and whenever the bad guys got over the superhero way, it looked like their plan was almost about to win, they started to monologue. I feel like this whole thing is the enemy monologuing, telling you what the plan is. And although I know a lot of people think that this shit won't come to pass, I'm here to tell y'all that they've done this before in the past and it's worked, man. I don't know if any of y'all know anything about Reaganomics, but bro, it's a lot of shit that they do that they tell you in your face and they do it. And it may seem unbelievable, but then you got to look at all the other countries, man. If you technically look at America, America is the most lenient place out there, man. We got, and all the other places, you got tyrants and shit running shit. This is the same thing. America is trying to set up right here. They're giving you the guidelines for it. They trying to control you. You know what I'm saying? Like my man Orvie was saying, man, America is one of the best places in the world. These guidelines that they're laying out is telling you how that shit is about to change. It's been changing. You know what I'm saying? They just letting you know right now you can't do shit about it.
Thanks.
All right. Jay, what's up, Jay?
All right. You know me, man. I like a lot of facts before I form my opinion. So when I first started hearing about Project 2025, it was last year sometime. I started doing my research to figure out what was different and what was new about this. And I think it was Sevens that brought up Reaganomics. And I think Orvie brought up the mandate for leadership and stuff like that. All the Project 2025 is a new mandate for leadership that's called Project 2025. Okay. In 1973, the Heritage Foundation created basically a book that they release every year for the incoming president. And it's got the entire conservative agenda written out in black and white. This is what we want you to do. And they give it to every president. They gave it to Obama. They gave it to Clinton. It doesn't matter if you're Democratic or Republican, they give it to you. What you choose to take from it is how much, like Mel was saying, your donor dollars will be affected or not based on what you do from it. But it's 100% what the Heritage has gotten together and said, this is the agenda that we want to push for the country during this administration. And they started with the Reagan administration because they knew he'd need help. So another large part of what the Heritage Foundation does is they get in contact with each administration's number one administrator who's behind closed doors making these deals with the Heritage Foundation. And that's how you start getting people selected into the cabinet that are going to do this, they're going to do that. So when you know that there's 9 different mandates of leadership for all these different administrations, Obama, all of them have taken things from this organization and done things that these people wanted, regardless of political affiliation. So you look at the Project 2025, the reason that people are now associating Trump with it in particular is because his win in 2016 was a surprise win. That's the real shit about it, is that it was a surprise win. So he had to scramble to figure out what his administration was going to stand on, because he can't just stand up there and cuss no more. You won, right? So now you got to have some substance. He didn't have any substance. So he went to the Heritage Foundation and grabbed the mandate number 9. And all of this is open book. Like he said, they can tell you what they're going to do, and they put it in a book, every administration, right? Mm-hmm. So because he took so much of it, more in a percentage value, more than what the Reagan administration took and changed the world in the 70s, right? He took more of that. We got more of that stuff accomplished as far as our country saw it happening, whether you agreed with it or not. Most of us disagree, but there's a faction of conservative people, new brand of conservative people who do agree with it. And he took most of that with him. That's why he pulls all this information and people are saying that that's a part of what he's doing. It's not, because regardless of who takes office, they still want Project 2025 to go forth. And so now that he's thinking he's going to win, like Ori was saying, now he's got his own little 2 or 3, 4 or 5 page agenda. Some of it runs congruent with Project 2025 stuff and some of it doesn't. And let's be honest, a lot of the stuff that they put in there, when you break it down into bullet points, is some of the stuff that is beneficial for us. And I'm saying us because I'm looking at 5 black men. You know what I'm saying? So that is important for us in our community. A lot of it is things that we should fight against wholeheartedly, right? But what I'm saying is these things are things that, and also in my opinion, a lot of people don't want to talk about what the match that lights that fire, right, of this conservative revolution that we're experiencing right now is the 10 major LGBTQ moves that Obama made. He stepped in an empire when he did all this stuff. All these firsts, you look it up, all the first for stuff like that a conservative person, whether they're black, white, yellow, or green, is going to be upset about. He did them all, but because that's where his funding came from. More than 60% of his funding came from billionaire homosexuals. And I'm not knocking it. It's his money, it's his agenda, is what he wanted to do. But he had to make some moves to grease that palm after he got the money. And so these people went nuts. And instead of just doing another mandate number 10 for the next conservative president, they came out with Project 2025. And then they already had a whole bunch of people in place. When you talk about battles, you talk about a war. If you already got some of the enemies on my side working for me, and then I say, hey, man, listen, now tell Jason this, tell him that. How easy is it going to be for these people to contact me? So when he didn't have any agenda in 2016, he hired half of the people that run the Heritage Foundation. So that's why they associate him with it closely. Like, oh, this is a Trump thing. Trump don't know. I don't think he knows enough to take his wallet out and turn his ID upside down, okay? But he's a good mouthpiece for people that do know. And then it's not necessarily a racial thing, because the number 2 person in charge over there is Kay Coles. She's black. She graduated from Hampton University. You see what I'm saying? So when you start digging around and looking at it, there's things in this that are no different than, okay, the Republican response to the the Affordable Care Act, that came from the Heritage Foundation. They wrote mandates, like I say, mandate number 1 all the way through 9. The most recent thing, instead of doing mandate for leadership number 10, was Project 2025. It's the same thing. They just took the face off and put something else on it. And the reason that that's significant is because the Heritage Foundation traditionally did this on their own. Now they basically formed a unionized group of conservatives
Super PAC
who do sign on, but they also have their own agendas that are more egregious, that are more racial, that are more anti-LGBTQ, that are more anti-Black, anti-immigration. That's why when you hear all these things, oh, it's got this and it's got that. A lot of this stuff is just social media talk. It's not really in there. But there are people that are signed on to join this movement and that support the movement formally in their groups that do have those things in their agenda.
All right. Anybody come in? Anybody got to come back?
Well, that's the show.
Hey,
it was good talking.
Man, Jason wrapped it up, man. Hey, you looking to run or be a VP, man? We can go ahead and hammer them, bro. And you're absolutely right. Go ahead, man.
No, I was going to sure he don't got no baby moms or nothing, because if he run, he was winning.
Oh, no.
You got it. Yeah, get rid of all
I got a background. My background dictates that I don't run, right?
Oh, there you go.
But because I can't let people dig in my background like that. But the reality is this: I don't agree with either side, right? I am a registered. If you were to just look me up, I'm a registered Republican, right? But I typically vote mostly Democratic, but I go line by line and vote. I never vote a straight ticket anymore for several reasons. But two of the major ones is I disagree with both parties. I think they're both full of shit. I don't think anybody in Congress has my best interest at heart as a 45-year-old Black man in America, right? You got a bunch of 75-year-old white people telling me how I feel and what I'm going through, and that's impossible to do, right? I also don't agree when they throw us a little bit of a bone and say, I'm offended personally with both of my parents being Black and African-American. I'm offended that Obama goes down in history as the first Black president. He's our first biracial president, and I'm okay with that. But you got a Black kid somewhere, maybe he's not born yet, maybe he is, and he's on his way, that's going to be the first Black real president with 2 African-American parents, and he doesn't get to wear that title. You want to make, they split hairs on everything else. I think we should split hairs on that, because, and the reason I say throw us a bone is because we don't have elected Black couples in charge. You elect Kamala Harris right now, her husband is a white man. You elect Ketanji, when they put her on the Supreme Court, husband's a white man. You see what I'm saying? If you get a Black woman, a Black woman, the husband's going to be something other than Black. If you get a Black man, 95% of the time, his wife is going to be something other than Black. They know how to give us just enough to be okay. And the reality is, I don't have a whole lot of confidence in your thought processes when you're laying in the bed at night talking to your spouse, which we all do, especially with a heavy job like something with a political affiliation, and that doesn't come into play. I refuse to believe that.
Well, I got to come on there because I'm one of those jokers that come into play because, hey, I get everybody. But I'll put it to you like this.
Get them.
Hey, I'll put it to you like this. They can say what they want about Obama being mixed and stuff, but when he walks down the street and he turns around, they see a Black man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Is that?
I'm not no, I didn't want to take your thunder. All I'm saying is that everything you said is absolutely right, especially about the part of a young Black man or woman that has both parents being Black, being the first Black president. I think when that happens, they're going to go back and change it, because this might sound funny and stuff, but when old boy, what's my man name that played the sax? Clinton. They were talking about, even though he ain't Black, he's the first Black president because he had the mindset. But when we talk about this color thing, you were kind of alluding to that earlier when we were talking about who's doing stuff and it's not necessarily a racism thing.
Right.
I really think racism does play a part, but not as heavy as the part of the haves and the have-nots. So when I look at this, because I'm looking at it from a point of view that we should, as Black people and Black communities, stick together, but we've had moves and changes, not because we were just sticking together, but we had some white allies that was brave enough to say, you know what, I'm going to roll with the brothers. I know it's going to cost me everything. I'm going to roll with the brothers. And I want to bring up one particular situation that a lot of people don't talk about, but it's something that sticks in my mind every day. Do you remember the Olympics where the two brothers raised their hand in solidarity?
Absolutely.
To stand against the injustice,
Right.
and got their medal stripped?
Right.
Do y'all know who they got their gloves from?
No.
They got their gloves from the white dude that was the third place.
Oh,
He gave them the gloves. He was from Australia. And nobody talks about hey, OJ keeps his gloves. Y'all know that. But anyway, he gave them the gloves and he stood in solidarity with them because they told him don't go stand up there because they knew he was going to do it. Well, that story, even though our guys had their medals taken from them, this guy went to Australia and was ostracized, treated like shit until he died because he stood for what was right. And he didn't have to. He could have easily just stepped away from that podium and said, hey, this has got nothing to do with me. I'm all the way from Australia. And he was like, nah, fuck it. I'm going to stand up here and I'm going to stand on business, see what happens. So I mention that because we have a lot of unsung heroes out there that's ready to rise to the occasion for us. And some of them, truth hurts, would do it more than some of our Black brothers and sisters in the community.
That's the problem. We don't know the white heroes. Like, we only get taught the bad guys. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the good white people.
Mel standing in front of me, right? Check this out. Check this out. So this is what I want to say. Two things. One, I never want to take away, no matter what I say, I never want to take away, because I'm unable to take away from the undercoat and the undergirding of racism in this country. It's a fabric of what we're built on. I argue with people all the time, and I say all the time that slavery in America is not Black history. It's white history. It's something that was done to us. It's not something we chose, right? That's not our history. That's that we were affected by that history. That's white history. That's theirs. They own it, right? There's a book that if you haven't read that you should probably read, in particular, Orville, because I enjoyed it and I have a lot of the same type of thoughts that you just said. It's called White Fragility. And she also has a follow-up book to talk about when white allies, or who are supposed to be white allies, how they can make it more difficult for us, not knowing that they're making it more difficult for us. So what I'm saying is that there are things that they're inherently racist. There's no way around that. And this Project 2025 is one of those things. But somebody in the comments popped up there, and I agree with them too. And they said, this is more about the rich versus the poor more than it is the Black versus the white, or Black versus anybody that's non-Black, right? Because that's what it boils down to, because the type of racism that we've been exposed to as a country, and I'm saying as a country because it doesn't matter where you're from, because if you look in a history book and it tells you a story and it tells you that that's history and it's bullshit, then you've been exposed to racism, because racism is left to the winner, right? You win, you get to dictate what history is, right? Mm-hmm. So you get to not tell people that the Battle of Alamo was about slavery, right? The Mexican government told them to let the slaves go. You can have that land up there because it's bullshit land in Texas and Colorado, right? We don't want it, but you can't do slavery. And that's what the battle was about, but they don't want to tell you that because they won the war, right? So anybody that's affected, that's in our fabric. That's what we have to deal with. So I don't want to downplay that aspect of it, but I will say that with the comment you made about Obama, when he turns around and see a Black man, that is racism. He can choose that for himself, but for our government to say, you're black because you got a drop of black blood in you. This man didn't know his father like that. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't raised in the black experience like we were. Let's be honest. His black experience started in college when he met that black girl and started hanging out in Chicago, right? That's when his black experience started, right? But his black experience didn't start like us from birth. You dig what I'm saying? So the reality is I'm happy that he and anybody else who's biracial chooses to call themselves black or chooses to identify as black. I'm okay with that. I don't have a fight with that. My fight is that in and of itself is a part of the racism that's forced on us, right? I mean, my opinion.
All right. Let me come over here.
Your opinion is valid.
All right, let me come to Melvin right quick. Melvin, what were you about to say a while ago?
Well, first off, with the Obama thing, if you didn't grow up without a dad and then you meet a black girl and marry her and give her kids, nigga, you black. Like, ain't nobody picked that for you, nigga. That is a black experience. Okay, but
with your black ass,
with your inner city too. Come on, man. He's Hawaiian. Get the hell out of here. But nah, nigga don't got one tattoo. How you Samoan? That don't even make sense. But no, man. Honestly, I wholeheartedly agree with the whole context he was referring to, especially with the racism and how it aligns, because, and it also goes back to, I have these conversations with people when they're like, black people can't be racist or black people can be racist. In my opinion, racism is like, you see with black people, I personally believe we can't be racist because it's prejudice without power, right? So if I don't like a group of people, but I have no power to affect or change what they do, then that's not racism, because racism is a system. But if white people specifically look down upon a group of people and can affect their lifestyle with housing, with assistance, with redlining, etc., the list goes on, slavery, etc., that's racism, right? So the moment, even if you boil it down to what we just talked about, a presidential candidate, if I can look at you and go, you're black, that's racism. Like you said, that it's 100%. He can identify as biracial if he wants to.
Right.
I don't know if you could fill that out on the application or not, but nigga, you're biracial. You get what I'm saying? But it's the system who dictates and goes, he's black. Like Kamala, she can identify as Asian if she wants. You know what white folks saying? That's a nigga.
Right.
Nothing you can do about it. It is what it is.
I do disagree with the black people can't be racist though, right? Because here's the deal. If and I used to be, right? I'm not anymore. But if I'm a supervisor on my job, right? I'm a supervisor on my job.
Recovering.
And you right. And you come in as a white person and you want to work for me. If the reality is that my homeboy Mel told me that his cousin is coming in to interview at 3, and I got you sitting here as a white man at 1, and I decide I don't give a damn what your resume says. I'm going for Mel's brother, who's a cousin, his cousin who's a brother at 3 o'clock, based solely on the fact that you're a white man. That's racism. I'm affecting up somebody else's life, or I've formed an opinion based on race. 100% is racism. Do I think that is wrong that we do it? I'm gonna call it what it is, man. Listen, sometimes you get held down and you start swinging back. If you win the fight, don't mean you didn't get picked on. And they shouldn't have.
I'm pointing that 7 up there. That's who you're talking to.
I'm just sitting here thinking like it ain't had nothing to do with the white man in the interview. He was gonna hire his boy cousin just cause.
No, and I'm
even if it was another black dude who came in, the dude cousin was sitting on you.
Medical scenario. The white dude is because it's Mel's cousin and he's black.
But Mel's cousin was gonna get it regardless.
Hey, Jason, I gotta interject this because I agree with you too, Jason. Black people can be racist, but the key word that Mel said and I keyed in on was the power.
Absolutely.
The reason you were able to be racist was because of the power, and you based it solely on race. Now, this is something that I dealt with in the Army as an equal opportunity advisor, and it kind of blew me away. I never thought I would have a situation where a young white soldier would come to me and say, hey, I want to file an EO complaint because they're treating me differently because of my color. And again, Southside Chicago, I got things in my past that I see the world totally different. But when I looked at the unit and watched the training, it's like, okay, the first sergeant's black, all the E7s are black. The only one doing extra duty and get treated like shit is white dude. Damn, that's racism. So when we talk about racism, and it's almost parallel to all the isms, sexism, actually rape, there has to be a power dynamic in there. And unfortunately for America and its history, the power dynamic has always been with who?
That's correct.
That's something that, like you said, it's their history.
That's
but it's up to them to teach each other. We can scream all day about what we want to do, but the magic happens when their kids and their grandkids turn around and say, people, that's racist. I'm not going to do that no more. And they probably have a heart attack on the spot, but that's how America is moving forward. And that's why they're so scared. They got to do stuff like Project 2025 and all this other craziness. My opinion.
Let me come to 7 right quick because I think he had something to get in on. 7, go ahead.
Man, listen, man. In the whole 2024 agenda project they got going on, man, they trying to set it up as to where whoever's the president, right, he could just pass the laws. Whatever he wants to do, he could just pretty much do it, right? Mm-hmm. So if there's not a black body sitting in there, right, and all the people in the Senate is like damn near 100 back on some racist shit, what do y'all honestly think is gonna come from that, man? You know what I'm saying? There's nothing you can. There's nothing. So if you look at the details of the setup of Project 2025, right? Using us as an example, because we're all sitting there looking at our screens and we can see the individuals, right? So we say what we're going to do is we're going to put Paul in charge, okay? And Paul is no longer going to have to go separately to the judicial arm of government to get certain prosecutions done or to sick the FBI or DEA or whoever on whoever. He can just acknowledge that himself, and he can also call those dogs off. We're going to change that law. And the 3 or 4 of us agree and say, yeah, let's do that. And once he can do that, he's going to appoint Sevens as his number 2 man. That's who's going to be in charge of these dog groups, right? And then if we have to have it, then we can get Orvie to do, X, Y, Z. So then if you put me, Paul selects me to just go on a panel, and they would like to associate my bonus, my level of employment, whether I'm even employed for the government or not. They want to set that as Paul's discretion. So if I don't come in ballyhooing Paul every day and every decision that he's made, and even if I do speak against something, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter at all. That's part of the setup. Right now, it matters because there's no politicization of it, right? But they're trying to politicize a lot of things. And like, I think it might have been 7, or somebody said earlier when we first were introducing it all and talking about it, is how they've done it before. They write you this roadmap of what's going to happen and they do it. And that's why when you look from the Reagan administration and beyond, they wrote it out. And they did it. So everybody that thinks it's outlandish that experienced those changes, I know most of us were younger or not born in 73, but experienced those changes that Reaganomics brought. That's the type of extreme changes that are in store, whether that's Trump or anybody else. And that's just the reality. And that's why I say I don't support either side of the government, because I know it's going to happen inevitably anyway. And then again, I believe it was fast forwarded by 2 significant things. 1, Obama being who he was, because that's the racial component. But 2, all of the things that he did that was markedly against what, in air quotes, is the conservative movement. He had the first appointed openly gay judge, the first appointed openly gay Supreme Court judge. The first time a gay pride flag flew at the White House, he did away with Don't Ask, Don't Tell. He put Eric Finnegan or Flanagan or something over the military who's openly gay. Like, he did a lot of stuff to give back to the community that put him where he was, that was, call it aggressive,
or egregious, but it was both because it like I say, it was stepping in an empire because you fast forwarded a lot of things that may have eventually occurred anyway. But you fast forwarded the anger that comes with those and the resistance that comes with those as well.
Let me say this right here, and I think his name is Tim Scott that said America is not racist. We were talking about a lot of race a while ago, but Tim Scott said that America is not racist.
I thought Mel was the comedian. That's straight jokes, man.
Listen, that's
yeah. You don't got to be a comedian to be funny.
Tim Scott is a dancing clown, man. Like that's not even. I wouldn't even honor him by sitting down and have a conversation with him. There's nothing to talk about. I mean, and it's not out of anger. It's out of the level of ridiculousness that this man has. I wouldn't even address that. Everybody knows. And this is what that second book was about, or that the people that don't know the level of racism in this country are the people that consider themselves our allies. Because here's what they don't do. They don't go out of their way to teach their white children the difference between right and wrong and racism and what to do and what not to do and what equality really looks like when it comes to Black or brown people, right? They just assume because they don't allow these things to go on, they don't allow certain things in their home that it's going to be okay. And for most of them, they're okay until their 17-year-old daughter brings a Black guy home that's the basketball player. That might be a problem, and it might not be a problem because he's also the basketball player, right? He's the stud, right?
Yeah.
But it may never be a problem because as long as their family continues to be white, they think we're not racist. We don't walk around saying these words. We don't do these things. When the reality is, when addressed with something or confronted with something that happens to be racial in nature, they don't have a way to deal with that.
No, you're spot on with that, Jason. The only pushback I got to that is that it's not all white people that want to be allies. And I'll put it to you this way.
Oh.
What you just said to me describes 80% of the Democrats that say they're allies to us. They talk all that shit until I come up out of the alley running for my life and they see a Black man, they gonna shoot. You know, but there are people that when they say, hey, are you down? They standing on business of being down with us. Again, I want to throw something out there, and I don't want to say that y'all don't know it, but these are the things that help me form this mindset. Everybody knows about the Black Panther Party, right?
Correct.
How many people know about the White Panther Party?
Well, I wasn't white.
If you go to California and you go to the Black Panther Museum, they talk about the White Panther Party. And the reason why it's being pushed out of history and stuff is because there's a group of white people that said, hey, look, we are not going to try to intermingle with what y'all doing. We understand the Black power struggle. We understand that we can never be Black, but we can be allies. Tell us what we can do. And what they pretty much did was match word for word everything the Black Power unit stood for, but they were whites. And what happened was they got pushed off and they went into the Appalachians to do shit. A lot of them got in trouble in Detroit, but that's a part of history that they don't want us to know. And the reason I believe they don't want us to know is the biggest danger of Blacks moving forward is whites helping them move forward. I'm not talking about the fake ones that said, oh yeah, I'm gonna wear a dashiki in February, but after that, I'm sorry, I can't give you a job. You're cool with me, but I can't let you work at my father's plant. I'm talking about people day in and day out. They're like, no, I understand the struggle. Yeah, I know I'm white, but this is what I'm gonna do because it's about wrong versus right.
Mel?
Hey man, all I know is this, man. Kamala Harris is not an ally to our people, bro. I don't even know why people love this lady, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it. I don't even know why people.
She can
look
get it.
Good, man. Yeah, hey,
We
you know me, man. Hey, y'all know where my record stands at, and I ain't gonna disrespect it, but hey. But I will tell you this: when we talking about Kamala Harris versus Agent Orange, I'm gonna just stick on me, speaking for self. I wouldn't give a damn if it was a damn one-eyed gorilla running for presidency. I'm gonna vote for that gorilla before I vote for Agent Orange.
Man, why you
That's
just
where I'm at
the whole
on.
system down, man? You gotta stop playing with these people.
There you go. We killing everybody, guys.
You don't understand, bro. They keep coming up with these agendas, bro. You know what I'm saying? Before you know it, your grandkids gonna be slaves again. You need to just cut this system off, man. Burn this shit to the ground, dog.
All right. That's self. We shoot him up. So let me. Oh, go ahead, Bill. Bill, were you going to say something?
So as far because reacting to the burn the system down. Now that could be implemented, but I don't know the terms of that. We'll wait on your book, Seven. We'll wait on your book. But here's what I think we should do. Now the only problem is Black folks, we've lacked one thing when it comes to actual important shit, which is unity. Right now, granted, when we did have unity, of course, we had assassinations, niggas fight over money, shit like that. But typically, when it came to presidency or picking a candidate, I think, and again, everybody knows, if you don't, now you know, I am independent. I'm not on either side. So I feel like all are candidates. Because now what you do is you have the person we picked and we can directly hold that person accountable if they win for all Black issues. You get what I'm saying? So if JP is the candidate we choose and he get in office and he take all that white money and fuck up, he knows when he get out in that 4 years, he's done. Niggas not voting for him. It's over with. Enjoy your money. Have fun in Cancun. You get what I'm saying? But
that's it.
I think that's the best way to go about it because
dog. If shit
like
that happen, he gotta know that we gonna kill his ass when he get out of office.
Hey,
dog.
look, I already told y'all about this killing stuff, but let me tell you what I see. We not other countries, y'all. We the U.S.
We need to be. That's the problem, man.
We gonna only do assassination that we can get away with. We not just
assassination is still happening. That's how they kill Osama bin Laden, Gaddafi. They assassinate motherfuckers. Don't talk that. They not.
No, okay. We killed bin Laden, but we had Gaddafi killed by his own people. I mean, if we're gonna take the blame, we're gonna take the blame that we take it. But I do want to back up and say what I think should go forward. Because just like my man Mel, I claim independent. Mm-hmm. Even though it's hard to vote, because when you go to the poll, they're like, you got to pick one, Republican or Democrat. You got to be kind of feisty with it, depending on who you're going to vote for before you got in there. But my belief is, number one, 2024, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. We're not changing shit. That train is coming down the hill. But after 2024, after the election is done, 2025, what we, the people, and I'm not just talking about Blacks, I'm talking about everybody that thinks the same way that we think, need to start working grassroots to build up to 2028. Every time we talk about, hey, we need to get somebody different, we can't get anybody different. You know why? Because they got a lock on the program. I mean, my man Cornel West is still out there, y'all. Y'all know that, right?
Oh, I know.
He's still out there running. Matter of fact, he just put in another request for more Secret Service for him when he travels and stuff. That never makes the news. You know why? Because he's looked at as an outsider. And if you look at every time in history, except for way in the back where we had some independents actually run and win, you usually got to take a side. It's almost like being on that corner and you got to figure out which gang you're going to roll with, the Reds or the Blues. Because when it comes up to the presidency, they're going to make you pick. And if you don't believe me, ask Bernie Sanders. He was an independent until that time. And they still went ahead and gave him the business.
So hold that thought right there for just a second there, Jason. Let me just acknowledge my viewers. I appreciate y'all watching. I thank y'all for your support and for your comments. We are looking at them and we'll try to address as many comments as possible. So I appreciate y'all support and thank you for it. Jason, go ahead.
So I wanted to go back to what Mel said, and there's a lot of what he said that I agree with, but I bring in the issue with why the implementation of that is not happening, and I don't see it happening, is because they've sold us this belief system that as Black people, we were freed at some point. Okay. And I feel like it's a belief system, because if it was real, then we would have exactly what he's talking about. We wouldn't have to try to create these Black caucuses and this stuff like that. It would exist. We'd have a party that represented us. We'd have a place at the table when all the powers of that be come to the table, and that would be who we speak through. These would be the people who represent us. This was how we would be represented. Like the Jewish community has they sit down with the Jewish community every single time something happens, not once a year. Every time something happens, they sit down with the Jewish community. And if they don't play ball with the Jewish community, you wait till Kamala Harris gets to go get more money. I guarantee you she will be dealing with the Jewish community. But nobody comes to the Black community and says, this is what I want to talk to you people about. At a national level, of course, they're going to show up at y'all's churches. Whoever goes to church, they're going to show up at your churches come election time for your local election. And high five your pastor and dance around and smile a little bit and give a little offering, right? Try to get that local vote. But as far as us having a seat at the table, as far as the establishment goes, it's not going to happen. And so we have this illusion of freedom when we don't have what choices? You don't own your home. You got a mortgage. Don't pay it and see what happens. If you paid it off and you live in a neighborhood with an HOA, don't pay the fee, that $100 or whatever they want every month. Don't pay it and see what happens. That's not even your shit. They own all of it. It's an illusion. Oh, you can go hunting and you can go fishing, but you got to pay us, this government, X amount of money to feed my family. That's an issue. It's an illusion. So we don't have a seat at the table, and that's what it would require. And so I don't, as much as I like to be versed in it, I vote policy. I vote, especially my local elections, my regional, my state elections. Those things matter more to me than because we don't even have a 100%. Real democracy. If you look at the definition of democracy, we don't have one. So why they go kill people based on democracy and trying to spread democracy is beyond me, because we don't even have one. So.
And man, I just want to say, my man was saying that we don't own anything, man. And that's true.
That's correct.
We don't own anything. Money is not even money. It's a promissory note. We don't own anything. As a matter of fact, America is one big fucking illusion. You know what I'm saying? And people need to really start to understand this. While people think motherfuckers come here to be free, people coming here to live a dream. Literally. You know what I'm saying? The shit is not real. It's not what you think it is. You don't own shit. You ain't never gonna own shit. How they got it set up. And they got that shit in their agendas where they say you won't own anything and you'll be happy. And that shit is not, it's not like something in the future that's happening now. But people don't even understand that America is an illusion. And until we get our minds straight and understand that the reason why we don't have any power as a people is because Black is not a nationality. You can't go nowhere and say Black, motherfucker. It don't mean shit. That's why we don't have anything. Until we get that straight and we come together and we give ourselves a true name of our nationality. African American ain't it. Black ain't it. These are titles that was given to us when they stripped our true title from us as the true Native Americans of this land. And that's why I keep trying to tell you. That's why I was wearing an Indian hat. Paul said his friend said he couldn't watch no more because I was wearing that shit. But that's who we are. And until we understand that, these people are not going to listen to us when we try to say anything. You know what I'm saying? Because we can go there and as soon as we say we Black, motherfucker going to turn their head. Because what is Black? Black is a fucking color. It's not a nationality.
That's correct.
Well, I got to say this because, I'm the All-American. First of all, nobody gave me the title of Black. I consider myself Black American because there's a lot of power that I derive from calling myself Black. I'm just saying, just for me. And as far as like America, you're right. There's nothing really that we own. There really is an illusion, but it's an illusion that's manipulated. And here's where the trickery comes to for me. It's who is manipulating this illusion. Is it the haves or the haves not? Right now, it's the haves, the richest, that's trying to make sure nobody owns anything or they can manipulate things to take it when they want to. The have-nots whether you like this or not, is not just one color. It's not just one color. If everybody in America that's middle class or lower got together, we can move this. And this, again, I feel like I'm an old teacher, but I'm going to keep throwing this stuff out there because shit, I'm 54. I'm supposed to just throw stuff back out there. So back in the day, before they said there was blacks, they didn't call us by color. They called us by what country we came from. And when they had enslaved people, not slaves, because we never choose to do it, enslaved people, they actually had white people that was enslaved. And one time, the enslaved whites and the enslaved blacks got together and said, you know what? It's more of us than these rich landowners. Why don't we just go take that shit? And they had a big to-do. A lot of rich white people got killed. And the ones that survived said, you know what? We got to divide this stuff because if they stay together, we're going to lose everything. So let's go ahead and make a system that's been working all over the other side of the world. So white enslaved person, yeah, you're white. We're not going to call you Irish. You are white. And you are entitled to, after your enslavement, to be free. And black enslaved person, no, you're black. You're just a slave and you're the lowest of the level. And hey, white enslaved person, this black person is making it hard for you to come up to our level. So if you keep them in check, then you'll get a check. And while those two are fighting down there for the scraps, the wealthy just kept getting wealthy to the point where they're untouchable. So when we talk about it, somebody just put up something about classism. That's exactly what's happening. We keep talking this like we got the blacks and we got the Indians. We got really, the way I see it, we got some people that's 1% that's got money making moves, and they letting us fight amongst each other when we should be fighting them, not killing them, not killing them, but fighting them to get the rights.
So
you just said the people came together as a revolution. They were scared of them. That's what I'm talking about.
Without the killing. I want them to come together, but without the killing.
Orby, here's the problem.
Let me point out real quick. Let me just say that I don't necessarily disagree with what you just said.
I do.
I disagree with, like I said, we can have a lot of these discussions, but implementation is everything. So in 2016, I think it was, I can dig through my paperwork and get it, but I was a part of a class action lawsuit. So, you know, you get those emails that say you may be a part of the class, right? I always fill it out because I think they know more than me. I don't remember what they're talking about, but here you go. So it was against Toyota at the time, Toyota Financial. So at the time, I had purchased a Toyota, brand new, and was financed through Toyota Financial. So I filled it out and went about my business. When I got the paperwork back, forgot all about it. It was like a year later, again, around 2016 area. Yeah, somewhere like that. Anyway, it was a company with a check for over $6,000. And it said that we won the class action lawsuit because they successfully showed that Toyota Financial was practicing basically racism, where if black or brown people went in to get financed and you had an 800 credit score, they give you 1 or 2% APR, and which you're okay with, that's small, you know what I mean? And they sell you the car and finance you the car. And if you were white, you got 0% for the life of the loan APR because you had an 800 credit score. And so they just would jab it to the black and brown people. And the same token, if you went in there with a 600 credit score, they give you 15% APR for that vehicle, and you think, I'm just glad I got financed, right? And if you went in as a white person with a 600, well, they knock it down to about a 9 or 10% APR for you. Okay. And they were able to prove this in a class action lawsuit. So here's the thing, me being who I was then, and before that happened to me, putting me in the knowledge of what was going on in my life, that part of racism I didn't even realize existed. I'm okay with 1%. You see what I'm saying? My mom and them, they got 1%. That's just that's good rate. That's taking care of your credit, right? You got 1% APR on financing, right? You buy a house, you get 1, 2, 3, 4%. You're doing good. Not knowing that somebody with my exact same job title, my exact same credit score, my exact same city and county is getting a better financing rate just based on race. So how do we come together? We don't know this going on because that's what I'm saying. It's systemic racism. It's from the top. It's not something we can sit at the table with our neighbor and talk about. That kind of racism we can do away with. But that's about feeling. That's feel-good racism. That's combating how we feel every day. That's combating the fact that when we get out of the car at Sefco or the Quick Trip or whatever to run in the store right quick, that nobody locks their door. That's got nothing to do with how we really moving in politics and how we moving in things that matter. Like I said, we don't have a seat at the table as a people. And so that's my rebuttal to what you're saying. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm saying implementation is everything. And you can't implement something if you don't know.
Hold up before you go, Arvin.
Okay, I want to come back to you, Jason. Yeah, okay.
All right. Jason, were you done?
I'm done.
Okay, let me come over here to Melvin because Melvin was saying he disagreed with something a while ago. So I need to get Melvin.
He disagreed with me.
Yeah. And what's up, Coach? I appreciate you tapping in, Coach.
First
Go
of
ahead,
all,
Mel.
nigga, I need to call Kia. If that's the story, I need to see because boy, I can use 2,800. I don't even need 6. That's greedy. I don't even need all that. Look, man. So Orville, you my man, 100 grand. But the reason why I kind of somewhat disagree with what you said is because the problem is once me and my white neighbor that are enslaved or poor or down bad or have-nots fight the haves. When we beat the haves, they become white. They love power. They're not gonna be niggas.
Correct.
Like that's the X factor. No matter what, once you give white folks control, it is a wrap. Like Reynolds, it's a wrap like Saran, baby. It's over. There's nothing you can do about it. We can sit here and fight them all. You'd be like, yeah, we did it. And they're like, get in line, nigger. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, there's nothing you can do. So I love it. Sounds good on paper. It's a great Kamala Harris speech. You should probably ghostwrite for her, but it ain't.
Hey, she paid me. I'll do it.
I'd do it for free. Just give me credit.
Hey, but check this out. You're right, and Jason's right. But again, it was something that you said, Jason, that kind of goes to what I was saying. Maybe I didn't come across that way. But before I say that, I want to tell Wizzo, this is why Wizzo Talks is so important, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All of us brothers are here, sitting here, and we're not a monolith. Everybody has a different mindset on, but we're able to talk through till we can get to the intersection of what we can work to together. Right. So when we're talking about getting together, this is how it starts, man. It doesn't start with everybody wanting to kill everybody. So,
it's effective.
or everybody sitting back, but everybody talking and saying, well, maybe some people can get killed, but not everybody. Maybe we can do this. But back to what you were saying, Jason, when you were telling the story about what's happened, which continues to happen because Navy Federal Credit Union just got sued for the same thing, but I don't think everybody's getting their money. My thought process was, how did they find out that the whites were getting this discount that the blacks and the browns was?
I don't know who initiated that class action lawsuit.
And I'm not going to say that I know, but I will tell you in history, the reason we were able to find out that there was some fuckery going on, and I say that in the purest form, was because somebody that was an ally said, you know what, I could keep this to myself, but this ain't right. This dude helped me with my family, or this dude has been a good guy, so I'm just going to share it. And again, this might not be the correct way that it happened. Who knows? But I will tell you this. There's been a lot of cases that's been overturned, like the redlining and stuff, where black groups got their white people.
I'm not gonna let you do that one.
No. Let me tell you what happened. Where the blacks actually had a white couple go in there right behind the black couple that went to get a house, and they were told that they couldn't get it or it wasn't available. The white couple went in there, got it, came back and reported to the NAACP. Now, everything I'm saying right now about this is factual, and I'm not going to say that that's the way that we clear up the red line and stuff like that. But what I am saying is there are some allies out there, man. And when we do this, we can't just throw away everybody because of the color of their skin.
And I'm not saying that, but what I can't let you do, I can't let you say that certain significant things in our own Black history as Black people that have us as a generation right now. We got maybe 3 or 4 generations represented here today. All of us as a generation are doing better than what was done before as far as just being able to live life. And we can all agree with that because certain things like redlining have stopped. But that to me has nothing to do with any kind of ally, regardless of race. That has everything to do with the color green being way more important than black, white, yellow, or brown. Right? They were going to make more money by letting us live where we wanted to live. Cadillac and GM used to we used to have to pay white people to go buy a Cadillac for you. And now you can go in there and buy it yourself. Money talks. They still going to call you a nigga when you drive off the lot. So I can't let you do that and say that because, these certain things that it was because of an ally. If you have an anecdotal evidence to say, hey, in this situation, white people were pivotal, which you did earlier, and I respect that and I like that. I really do. But I'm jaded, bro. Like I gotta see that shit before I call it that. Otherwise, money is all that matters because I know right now I went to dinner 2-3 weekends ago and they took my $400 real quick. And it was expensive, clearly an expensive dinner. They take my $400. Nobody called me out of my name while I was there. I was Mr. Payne. You dig what I'm saying? And once I leave, I leave. That don't mean they want me in that restaurant. They want my dollars in that restaurant. So that's not a racial win for me to be able to go there. They just taking my money now without spitting in my food. And I'm okay with it because I go there. That's, but I'm just saying.
And I'm not going to debate that because everything you're saying about the money is power. You're absolutely right. And what they say in our face versus what they say behind our back is different. But when we talk about evidence, all you got to do is look up NAACP and HUD housing, how they were able to break that. Because before they were saying that this wasn't happening. Blacks was just being bougie and they were trying to get something that wasn't there. And it took them putting some white people up in there and proving that they were lying. I'm not saying what you're saying is not happening at all, but what I'm saying, there's proof in the
administration put over HUD.
Huh?
Who the Trump administration put over HUD in 2016?
Ben Carson, I think.
It was Ben Sleepy Carson.
Dr. Ben Carson.
All skinfolk, kinfolk.
Who was another Tim Scott. But you think it wasn't particular and strategic that they put a black man over HUD to shut shit down?
I agree with you wholeheartedly, but what I'm saying when you said bring the receipts, all I'm saying is what I'm telling you is already written with NAACP. That's how they were able to break it. I'm not saying like what Ben Carson doing and the rest of them doing has been a monumental change. And they still doing it today. All I'm saying is that we do have some white allies out there.
No, I can agree with that. Like I said,
they're saying, I'm not taking it. Some of them will say, well, that's wrong that they're doing that to y'all, but they're not doing it to me. So all I can do is pray with you.
I personally, I'm not going to argue what you're saying. And I do agree with you that there are allies. I personally would prefer to work with someone that's non-black, that does not even consider themselves an ally. I would prefer to work with a person that's non-black who says right's right, wrong's wrong. I'm gonna work with people. And if they're on the right agenda and they're going in the right direction, then I'm going to go with them. If they happen to be white, I'm with them. If they happen to be black, I'm with them. If they happen to be brown, I'm with them. Because I can trust that person more than a person that comes after me and tells me that in particular, they're my ally.
I can get behind that. I would wholeheartedly concur with that statement because it goes back to what I was saying earlier. There are some people that are down to stand for us, that are allies. And there are some people that only say it when it benefits them. Absolutely. So it's a distinct difference. And when I said that 80% Democrat, it might even be higher because in my experience, I've seen people say one thing and do something totally different. But absolutely. I also seen some that did something and they went to the point of getting killed to stand on business for it. So
That's correct.
that's all I'm saying. There's a difference between them.
That's correct.
So
All right, well,
again, Wizzo, you doing it. You doing it, brother.
Hey,
And the sex is
I'm
happening.
enjoying it. Let me give a shout out to D. D, I thank you for tapping in and your comments and everything. We see you right there. I'm gonna come on over here to Melvin because I see he got something waiting because I can tell. I see the cheeks roll. Come on, Mel, let me have it.
Well, to add to their point, I feel like personally, I can almost argue more of our quote unquote allies are more of what JP's preference is. I feel like I don't even think some of them, I would say a majority of them probably, in my opinion, are people who this doesn't stand right morally with them, and opposed to this is a way to show my black friends I stand with y'all. You know what I mean? Right. Or like when there's, during the whole George Floyd thing, like, hey, everybody's doing it, I'm jumping in. I think personally, anybody who, because you got to think too, once you stand with us, you stand against them, and they know that, right?
Exactly.
So I think anybody who takes that risk is going. It's not even just about a black or white thing. It's a human thing,
right?
Like it's a human race thing, and these people shouldn't. And because I'm gonna be honest, I've been around white folk my whole life. Went to school with them, work with them. A lot of them are like it's almost a disdain of like the unwanted guilt. It's like, I didn't fucking do any of that shit. You know what I mean? Like, why I gotta feel guilty when a nigga gets shot, or why I gotta feel awkward to have the weird conversations now when like white folks I don't even know, for some population of 600 people town that's not from where I'm at, don't think about what I think about, and now I gotta like defend myself about this. I'm not being the great white ally. I'll leave that to Orvin. I'm just kidding. But no, no, but honestly though, and also too, I can also see the point where you've had a lot of people make the argument that the quote unquote us kind of blending our finances with them gets us over the hump. Right, like the whole, and it's tough, and I know your face frowns up, JT. I personally would like it to be FUBU, for us by us, right? I would prefer that, but I can see the argument when you see big cities like Atlanta and their progression, and you see Miami and all these. You can kind of see there is some evidence that when they tap in with us, shit does get done. Because let's be honest, if niggas was gonna do it, it would have been done already. So,
Jay, what you got? I saw that frown too.
I kind of agree with what he said. Most of what he said. I mean, I feel like we kind of got a wavelength going, all of us, right? But when he talked about the financial, that's another sensitive area for me, right? Because I know how long our dollar circulates for us, right? Like, I think everybody's seen the numbers on it, right? Like, that's a us problem, right? Yeah. But I think it's a systemic us problem. Again, a lot of the problems I feel like that we experience on a day-to-day basis, we minimize to what we see today, are really problems that come from way back when, right? Like, when you had to do certain things, when things were, very different for us. When there wasn't so many of us in upper middle class and considered to be rich and these things. And it's a lot to say about that. Like the reality is that not even enough of us know enough about financial literacy to say that they're building generational wealth. Like this is the biggest, like I hear that bullshit all the time. And it's bullshit because the reality is, let's be honest, because we don't have these institutions, it's very few brothers that we can learn these things from. So we need to be, like Orvie is saying, we need to be in the rooms where we can learn these things and now teach them to our kids. Let's be honest. So we got to start somewhere. And I agree. But this Instagram and Facebook got everybody thinking that everybody's an entrepreneur, everybody owns a business, everybody's going to always be rich, when that's not reality, and the numbers don't bear it out. The numbers bear out that most of us are just getting by and we're doing the best we can and we're living happily, but we're just regular people, right? Like we're living on credit cards, or we're not doing it, or we're cutting out things that we can't do and we can't afford. And that's just the reality. But how do we fix that? Instead of focusing on trying to be the biggest baller on IG or whatever, like we should be focused on, you know what, Jason, you were telling me about a 529 plan. So what is that? Teach me that so I can teach my kids. Or teach me how to not put all my money in my 401k that they offer me at work. Where can I invest in? How do I get a separate account where I can put some money? All we got to do is get together and talk. Because
get
enough
together.
of us know from other people to
We
put
can't
this
even
thing
decide
together.
if Michael Jordan or LeBron the GOAT. Like we can't even decide. Like,
No,
you can't get us in the room too long, dog.
no, but you're right about the information and passing it down. And this is where, we go from talking to action. And again, personal experience. We look at the neighborhoods that are the bad neighborhoods. Every neighborhood that I lived in was a bad neighborhood.
Right.
And we're taught by social media and everybody else, the way to get up is to get up out of there. And I'm not going to lie. Some people can't be up in there because they got too much money. But what's to stop you from investing in it? And this is where I say the lesson for generational wealth is starting with my family and me. Where my mom stays at, I have 2 pieces of property. Yeah, it ain't big. It ain't much. They got a whole bunch of trailers, but it's mine. The
Right.
property that my mom is on is hers. The
Right.
property that my great grandmother got is now mine. It might look like shit, but you know what? It's mine.
Right.
And this is how we got to teach the kids. Look, all this glimmer and glitz ain't it. You got to have something that's actually yours that you can pass down, that has value. And the way we do that, and I'm getting toward the community and stuff, is once we start buying property in those said community, starting businesses in the community. And somebody earlier put Miss D put something about Black Wall Street. There was a lot of Black Wall Streets back in the day. And the reason they were successful is because racism. They didn't want our money. They didn't want us dealing with them. So we were forced to spend the money in the community. We have a blueprint out there. We just got to get that knowledge and insight with each other to start working there. And for me, it started with me buying those little raggedy lots across the street from my mama.
So let's speak in realities, right? So let's say the reality is that everybody on this pod right now has the means and ability to franchise in Safeway, we'll say, right? Kroger, HEB, whatever, you pick it, right? Publix, he's in Florida, Publix,
Yeah.
right? We have the ability to do that. We go to the bank and we say we need a loan because we're going to open a grocery store. We're going to serve healthy, regular stuff. We're not getting crazy. Regular, healthy food in the Black community, the bad neighborhood, right? They're not going to give us that loan.
Facts.
That's a food desert for a reason. They want it that way. That's why the cholesterol is higher. That's why it's diabetes. That's why it's obesity, because you got to eating bags of chips from down the street, or you may not even have a vehicle to get the 20 minutes away to the even if you have a Walmart in that community, half the vegetables are dead. They're not edible. You wouldn't go and eat them yourself. Right. So again, how do we deal with shit when we talking about realities? And the reality is, if you go there and you start a mom and pop, great. Right. So what's happening? You're going to call it Orvy's store. And then what are they going to charge you when you go to the produce vendor? What are they going to charge you when you say, I want these healthy items to be put on this aisle? Yeah, I want the candy and I want the stuff people like too. But what are they going to charge you when the milkman come in there to bring your milk from Oak Farms? Right. Like they're going to charge you more.
Wax your ass.
So the reality is, how viable is that really to do?
And that's where the magic happens at. How viable is it? Is how we're going to get it. First of all, with the banks. If you hope that the banks give you money because you're doing the right thing, you're already stepping off on the wrong foot. This is why I said owning property is building that legacy. And I got this from my grandmother because I couldn't understand why she had these buildings in Chicago. And she said, baby, I got those old buildings in Chicago because they paid for it. You know how much I'm going to get when I refinance those buildings? Every cent of what they're worth, not what I paid for, because I had that. And when she told me that, it hit me with like a box of damn bricks, because I had been in the Army 20 years and I didn't think, hey, maybe I should start getting stuff now because later it'd be more expensive. So I'm learning on the curb and I'm trying to build it, but it is possible if we have a game plan. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I know for facts that they're going to try to push us out and try to set us up to fail. But there are some things that we can start doing now. And part of that is investing in ourselves. Because if we hope that the bank's going to give us a loan or something like that, they will, as long as it benefits them. But the thing that the banks can't stand is when you go refinance, that money comes straight to you. You just gave a loan to yourself.
Right.
They can't put an APR on that.
No.
They can't pull that back from you. That's yours.
Right. But
Let me hold that just for a second there, Jason. Let me do my little
go ahead.
I'd like to thank all my viewers for watching in the comments. We tried to get to them. We checking them out. And I'd like for you to please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Because here on Wizzo Talk, you never know what you're going to get. We started out with the good and bad of Project 2025 in our own words, but we have been in a heated discussion about a number of things. And I'm telling you, it is fire. And guys, I'm just sitting back because I'm learning. I'm taking notes and shit. So you guys really coming up with some good stuff. I see Coach Rice, D, Jay, in the comments and stuff like that. I think Coach even said he was like a 4th generation wealth or something. So appreciate everybody. Like, share, subscribe, guys. If you get a chance, peep over there to the comments and come back to you, Jason. I had to run my little commercial.
I know. I dig it. I just wanted to point out, like I said, like I said, we're both on that same line, is that knowledge has got to be shared. That knowledge, like you talking about Coach, talking about 4th generation, he got some information that we need.
Facts.
We can't. I'm telling you right now, anybody that know me can tell you I don't necessarily do it in public forum. But if somebody want to come to me and say, man, you have X, Y, Z, you got this and that going on, how can I? I'm going to tell them this is what I did and this is what you should do. And this is available to you now when it wasn't even available to me then when I did X, Y, Z. So I'm not a gatekeeper of it myself. Any knowledge I have, I try to pass to somebody that needs it or wants it or needs to use it. And anything, I pride myself on sitting in 2 tables in my life as a man. I sit at one table where my only job at that table is to sit down and shut the fuck up. I'm just there to listen and learn. I don't know enough to even have conversation with the other members of that table. And then I go sit at the other table where I'm gonna sit at the head of that table. And my job is to tell everybody at that table what I know and what I've learned. And I go back and forth. This is how I maintain my friend groups. A bunch of people that can teach me, and I'm giving it to a bunch of people that need it from me. And I keep going. And every 5 years, I reassess and I reevaluate. And the reality is every 6 months, as a man, I'm living by goals. And if every 6 months, 2 things are going to be true, I'm going to be doing better because I've accomplished that goal that I said 6 months ago, or I can look back and see I hadn't done shit. And I'm losing. And that's a guarantee. Every 6 months, every goal you set, you either get to that goal or you find out why you ain't doing shit.
Facts.
You got to keep going. And you got to keep going. And a part of keeping going is I got to tell you, if I say, hey, Mel, this is what I'm going to do. This is what you should be doing right now. I told a guy, I work with a cat he's a Rwandan refugee. Okay. He been in this country now. I think he's coming up on 7 or 8 years. This dude owns 6 houses. His regular occupation is a 6-figure gig. He came here and got a CDL, just happy to be having a CDL and drive trucks. You know what I'm saying? And I said to him, he said, hey, I had this go on and that go on. And then we got our bonus this year. He said, man, I got $2,500. So what should I do with it? I said, look, man, look at this stock right here. Look at that. Put this here. I said, and then set an alarm on your phone for 12 months. I said, you don't know how to play the stock market. Give it to them and let them do what they do. I said, 12 months later, go back and look at it, man, and see what's going on. What do you need to do? This dude came to me literally dancing. He had just under $25,000 in that account. He said, now what do I do? I said, take most of that and do this with it and do that with it and do that. like I said, he bought a house. He locked the next one. He locked the next one. He locked the next one. Now he got all these properties paying for themselves. And he's still renting an apartment like a smart guy.
Right.
His income, his passive income is now more than his regular income, which was already over 6 figures. And so you did better than I did when I told you what to do with the money. I'm not hurting by that. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Right.
But it's because somebody he thought was doing better than him told him what to do. And I guarantee you, he telling somebody else what to do. That's the only way we're going to make it. We got to share that information, man. That's why my ears are open. Anybody want to tell me, I'm listening. Or if I say I'm already doing this and I'm doing that, let's share. Maybe something you did, it might not. It might be something I haven't done. You know what I mean? And so I feel like that's the only way, man. We're gonna have to take care of each other. We're gonna have to take care of each other. And this political stuff and even the racial stuff that divides us, because we all gonna have these different opinions or whatever. That's why I don't talk about race and I don't talk about politics, because that's a passionate thing. That's fine. You just also have to open your ears and understand that everybody doesn't think the same way you. They don't have the same life experiences you do. They're different. So as long as you can respect other people's information, you don't have to agree to sit and have a conversation.
True.
Thanks.
That's what's up. I'll tell you this on one note. It's a guy, a friend of mine here in Temple, when we was talking about the houses and everything like that. He owns, I think, 6 rent houses, had a duplex built. He's a nurse, and I think he's probably 58, 59 or something like that. Works probably 1 day a week or something like that. But I don't know how he did. I remember him telling me a little bit. He bought this house on his credit card and paid for that and did that. But I mean, he owned all those. So he's he's pretty much set when you was talking about the houses and everything like that. Right. So that's what's up.
JP, the only thing, and I love everything what you said, and we need more like you. The only thing I caught, and well, not the only thing I caught a lot of that, and I'm watching back to take notes.
Right.
I'm already retaining. I'm already retaining information, but a lot's going on.
Right.
We need, because for example, right, and I'm like this too. This is why, like, I can say this. I'm all for giving information if I'm knowledgeable on something to people who want to learn or who need it.
Right.
But sometimes the problem is, how would that person know to ask me?
They won't.
And that's the thing, right? If you know something about this, or you like, how do you look smart? Like, how do you look like the guy I should just ask?
I don't think people look smart. I'm gonna give you an example right now, a real world example that applies to you, Mel, right? Individually, of how I move about the cabin, right? The cabin being the world, right? How I move about the cabin. You came in and you introduced yourself and said, "I'm a new father. I've almost got a 1-year-old." My first thought was, I wonder if he got a 529 plan for his child. Now, if it was a different forum, I would have said to you, "Hey, have you ever heard of a 529? Do you have one?"
Correct.
To which you would say, "Yeah, I got it covered," or "I've been planning," or "I don't know what you're talking about."
Right.
And either way, we both win, right? Because if you don't know, now I get to share that knowledge and now you have it, right? If you do know, well, what's the holdup on it, man? Like, oh, well, I got this much. Well, you can go in there with $100, man. You ain't got to have a grand. You know what I'm saying? You can go in there with $100 and get it started. Then you can put whatever you want to in it. And it's yours. And you can designate where it goes. Say your child turns out to be a knucklehead and says, "I'm not going to college. I'm not doing nothing productive. Do I get my money back?" Yeah, you get your money back. And here's the tax penalty, right? Like, I'm going to tell you that kind of stuff, right? So that's how I move. Everybody doesn't move that way. And I'm not saying that I'm special in that way. I just know, again, I got my 2 tables that I sit at. And I take information from one and I put it down on the other one.
Gotcha.
Man, Jason, man, you and Mel just reenacted something that I used to see as a kid. I think I told you about this, Wizzo, about barbershop talks. That's exactly how information used to happen in the community. You go to the barbershop, the women went to the hairdresser next door, and the men and the boys sat in the barbershop, either getting a haircut or talking shit. And it would happen just like that. Somebody come in and some old cat would be like, "Oh, you got a new baby, congratulations." "Yeah, man, I don't know what I can do with that." "Hey, did you know you can invest in this?" And then somebody would chime in. And it's communications, man. It's not about looking at somebody and say, maybe I should ask them that. But if we create a forum where we're free to just shoot stuff out there and talk, it happens like that. And the problem is we don't have that anymore in most communities. I mean, when I go back to Chicago, I always visit my neighborhood. Some people say, oh, you crazy, you can get killed. Well, I didn't get killed when I lived there, so I'm going to be all right. You can't go where I go. But when I go there, I look at the old barbershops closed up or the corner store, and I look at legacy being erased. Everything that I'm talking to you about today, the foundation started on the south side of Chicago. It grew on the south side of Thibodaux, Louisiana. But it was because people were communicating. The only difference between Chicago and Louisiana was the introduction of color. If I would have stayed in Chicago, I probably would have been somebody that didn't relate well to whites or any other people because they weren't around me. We didn't have that on the south side, my south side of Chicago. Not Shameless, what y'all see on TV. My south side of Chicago. When I moved to Louisiana, I had a lot of fights, but I got to grow up and learn that, hey, some of these kids are just as confused as I am. And the only thing that made a difference was us talking, sharing notes, and a lot of them got in trouble. To this day, can't go to their parents' house.
And
Communication
I'm on something you saying, because you say a lot of that, I call it, without offense, we are the world kind of rhetoric, right? I'm cool with that. But let me explain to you what I learned in my own life that lends true to what you just said about Chicago and coming to Louisiana and the area, the different areas, is when I go to places that are associated with my job, like Memphis or Birmingham or some of the places that we go in Louisiana, that the terminal is predominantly Black. They turning on each other. They turning each other to HR, treating each other like shit. And I'm like, damn, why did it? Because everybody's Black, right? And so there's no unity of, hey, we got to stick together. Well, then you come to the terminals that I normally work at where it might be 200 people working there, but it's 5 Black dudes. We can't make each other mad. Like, we got each other. So then when we see that at one of these all Black terminals, like, man, y'all why y'all doing each other like that, man? You know what I mean? Like, we didn't understand why. And it's the same thing, like with me, the way I grew up heavy in the Black community, but also heavy in the white community. And so to this day, when I see a Black person, I want to help if I can, if they need it. If not, I at least just want to greet you. And the area I live in now, that ain't always the case. Sometimes they look at you like, man, we're looking at me. What you want?
Man, you sure you're not on the south side of Chicago, man?
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you sure you're not on the south side of Chicago, man? Because that's my experience in a nutshell, man.
Right.
And I've said this before on Wizzo Talks. I experienced more racism, systemic racism in Chicago than I did in Louisiana. You're right. A whole group of them, they're going to fight and stuff. But in Chicago, it was like understood. You stay on this side of Chicago, period. I didn't learn about downtown, the rest of Chicago, until I was an adult. I didn't have to, but I'm kind of embarrassed because that's my city. But when I was in Louisiana, I could move. I could talk. And people that saw me, they would tell me, hey, you good? They would stop the car. You need a ride?
Right.
Shit ain't happening in Chicago. And what I'm saying is that is something, when we start talking about having a collective get back together, these are the little notes we got to take to say, okay, I'm not just going to say what is happening, but why is that happening? Is it because we're so scared of each other, or it's something else? We need to get to the bottom of that.
So I think that as Black people, and I've had this conversation before, and it's a tough conversation to have, but the reality of systemic racism is that it can't pick a victim. Okay. So some of the things that we have in mentality, Ms. Wilkinson just said that it's a mentality issue in her comment, right? She's right. Like, it doesn't pick a victim. So if the mentality is Black people are scary and Black people are going to do something to you if you go around them, then even Black people are going to avoid Black people. Like you said, you start making a little cash, first thing you do is get up out of there. I got to go. You know what I mean? They ain't going to steal my shit. You know what I'm saying? So you go, you leave, because it's systemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's just the reality. That's our reality. So it affects us too, because like I said, the first thing we do when we start making a little money, and I'm not excluding myself, is we move out of the Black community and we go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? I left for college off 36th Street in Temple on the east side. I haven't been back. You know what I'm saying? I haven't been back, and that's I attribute that thought process. Because here's the other thing. It's not just that thought process. I could say to myself, you know what, I can go to the other side of town. Not only would I save myself a bunch of money, but I would be with my people. But here's the reality. Now I know my schools will be bad. So if I got kids, I got to worry about that. Because again, systemic racism, the schools over there are worse than the schools on the other side of town. It's more violent over there. Now I got to worry about my kid going up to the store where on the other side of town, he could go miles on foot and never have a problem other than worry about the police, right? So it's given to, it's more of a, like I said, it's a cabal of an issue. It's not one of these issues that we can just sit around and it is going to take us as a community of people who are fed up with the same status quo bullshit that the government is trying to give us and calling it normal. It's not normal.
Mel, what were you about to say, Mel?
I'm just because a lot of this, like, and we pointed back to this almost an hour ago, where a lot of our problems are from shit from way back, right? And I go all the way back to segregation, because when it wasn't an option to leave the hood, when it wasn't even a hood at that point, because this is all we got, so it ain't the hood. When it wasn't an option to drink from that fountain, to eat at that place, it was all about us.
Right.
The boxer lived next to the factory worker. The doctor lived next to the waiter. Right. It wasn't a, well, you know, I can't live over here because niggas did it. Nah, it was, bruh, we all we got, we all we need. You get what I'm saying? Because we ain't fighting for better rights or the best rights. We're fighting for civil fucking rights. Like, just civil. Like, you know what I'm saying? Using a clean bathroom.
Exactly.
Like, sitting where I want to sit on this bus. Being able to get on the fucking bus.
Basic amenities.
Basic amenities. So I think once that changed, I think that was the spark of where we are now. Because anytime there's a problem, and I have this mentality even with relationships, we could talk about the problem all day, but we got to leave with the solution.
Right.
And this is a very, very interesting solution, because it's kind of one of those things where it's like, when you do make it, that's what you're supposed to do. Like when you make it and have kids, you want to be in a better situation.
Right.
So it's like, how do you say you can't give medicine to people who want to be sick?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like,
good analogy.
Yeah. So it's like with the hoods back there, or like you say, you never been back. You never been back because perception is reality. How you see it is your reality. So if you see, man, them niggas doing the same shit.
Right.
Bro, ain't nothing over there for me.
Right.
Them niggas doing the same shit. When I was leaving for school, when I was in school, when I'm out of school, bro, them niggas still in their mama house. They still at granny basement. Like,
right.
Bro, I have no aspirations to fix that. They got to fix themselves. Right. And I think that's the hard part about it. It's like, even back at the market thing we were talking about with the produce and this, that, and the third. And we knew, like, going into the bank is like shooting yourself in the foot.
Right.
The ones who made it are our Black banks.
Right.
It's just they also look at it from an asset to liability thing. Right. So this might not be the best turnover. I might not get the best return on investment, but it's not about money right now. It's about my people.
Exactly.
Right. LeBron, Oprah, Diddy, maybe not. But, well, actually, this is if I could talk to him, this is exactly what the fuck he need to do. But it's like, yo, I don't need Oprah executively producing a documentary about Michael Jackson touching kids, bro. I need you getting better fucking supermarkets in the hood.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? Because it's not about money no more. You got it all.
You got that.
You got that.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, like, we shouldn't have motherfuckers like Dr. Sebi reaching out to all these millionaires and getting turned down.
Right.
When it's public, it's court documented. I won
That's
I
right.
I did it.
Right.
Where y'all at? You know what I'm saying? So that's the solution too. I think it's the ones who made it need to have the same talks as what Orvie alluded to earlier. The have-nots had, where it's like, yo, we got to come together and do. It's the same with them.
Absolutely.
Let me. I'm gonna make one little comment when you said about the grocery stores, and then I'm gonna get to Arby because I think he might be having to get off of here. But I don't know if I'm wrong or not, Arby. But I'm gonna come back to you. But when you was talking about the grocery stores or something, you had wound up saying, and it made me think about, and I don't have it in my notes, but I saw on the news that Tiffany Haddish is doing something with some. I don't even want what state. I'd say Atlanta, but it's probably not. But it was some old building that she's going to turn it into a grocery store that's in a black neighborhood or in a low budget neighborhood or something like that. So I don't have that in front of me, but that kind of came to my mind. I saw that on the news when she was talking about doing something like that, Tiffany Haddish. But let me come to Ari, and because I don't know if he might have to get ready to get out of here or not. Go ahead, Ari.
I'm going to hang around for a little bit because you touching on something that's super important to me. When we talk about the hood and stuff, the one thing that I put a big strike against the media is they don't report stuff that's going on. And while you were talking about what Tiffany Haddish is doing, in Detroit right now, they have actual gardens in all these empty lots where they're making fresh produce and teaching you how to not just eat the food, but grow it yourself. So there's places like that that's happening. On the south side of Chicago, there's a couple places. I don't think they're doing as big as Detroit is because there's a lot of abandoned lots where buildings was burnt down and stuff. And change is happening. And the reason I say this, we can't account for the media to tell us what's actually going on. You know, we got some people doing things out there, but we got to reach out and see how we can be part of that collective and not wait to see what's being reported. Because, like, I don't know if you're talking about LeBron James is doing something or not doing anything at all, but I know LeBron is doing some big things from where he's from. I mean, from nice apartments that's affordable for people to have to that school that he has, which the media refused to talk about. Has anybody even heard about the school since it was open?
I'll tell you what they will do. They've talked about the poor test scores.
Right.
They're quick to bring that up.
Yeah, the bad stuff to bring them down.
Yes. Yes. They'll bring that up if the school is failing, but they won't bring up all the other benefits. Right. And again, it is technically, it is a charter school. I believe it's a charter school.
Yeah, it is.
So, and again, it's like, there's a little Chicago jab, but my
Here we
goat.
go. First on white. Now we're gonna talk about my hometown. Let me go ahead and take it.
My goat made a school, and your goat invest in prisons. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I gotta take that one on the fucking chin. God damn it, Mike. He did.
Yeah, we trying to fleece slaves, or you trying to duplicate?
Shit.
I don't know.
Make money off of it. You're right. And
that's
part
niggas, man. The ball niggas are tough.
That's part of the reason why we got to get into politics at the lower level and come on, because there should be no reason in hell that is legal to invest in the prison system, which it really isn't a prison system. It's an enslavement camp.
But this is indicative of our government. That's why I say it's a whole lot of things we can choose to talk about. But the reality is, you've been to Germany. You got 20 years. I'm sure you've been to Germany. You could buy a bag of potato chips, Doritos brand potato chips in Germany, and they're not going to make you fat or cancer ridden like the ones over here because our government has told these companies that it's okay. We're the product in this country, what they call democracy. The product is us, the citizens. They've sold us out to big corporations. They give us stuff and they approve stuff from the government that's supposed to be good for us that they know is killing us and they know is cancerous. They know is feeding into the machine of our third world, fourth world should be healthcare system. Why we, it's all a game and it's all a cycle, and they're going to keep rinsing and repeating with us, the citizens, right? And so that's from the government. They know what's going on. They're not going to fix it. It's all about money, and it's about those handful of people at the top getting all the money, and the disparity runs downhill. That's just the way it is. That's why, there's no way we should have the obesity numbers we have, the cancer numbers we have, all the stuff that's negative about it. There's people over there. You've been over there. They eat as much snacks as we do, but
they walking up hills and everything.
Oh my
That's
God.
it.
But y'all talked earlier about Reaganomics, and I'll bring that up because if you look back at the videos, because Reaganomics was the time hip hop started, 73. And when you look at everybody back then, majority of us was skinny.
Right.
I ain't talking about like, oh, we did slim, fit, could run, jump. Not just the little kids, the teenagers, everybody was fit.
Right.
As soon as they started easing regulations during the Reaganomic era and everybody else, we started getting fatter. Blood pressure started going up. Diabetes was part of the family now.
12-year-olds, a C or D cup.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because
What
the
the hell?
fructose corn syrup, they approved all of that stuff in the 70s. And
All
that's
that stuff
when
is showing
became what it
now.
was. That's right. We eating the same way now. If you talk about soul food that they were eating 50 years ago, but we dying from it now because of the additives that's in it. If you raise your own animals and raise your own food and learn how to do that kind of stuff and take care of your own family as much as possible, you'll be healthier. I guarantee you. I've done it.
I actually gained weight moving down to Louisiana. Why? Because instead of eating out of canned foods and stuff, A&P and stuff, we was getting canned actual corn. We was
That's
getting
right.
okra. We
Go
were
to the
getting.
market.
I actually
Go to
got
the
to
farm.
see watermelon and strawberries grow. I got to eat a fucking chicken that I fed before.
Right.
It's a totally different taste.
That's
And,
correct.
and I'm
Same
saying
thing.
that to make the connection with Germany. You cannot have that type of stuff in Germany because it's illegal. Not that they don't want you to, but because it's considered a poison.
Right.
So, yeah, man. Been in there
I'll tell you
Germany
this.
a lot of times. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah.
McChickens
I
was
had,
$1. Nigga, what you gonna do? It's $1. McChickens was $1. Double 59 cents on Wednesday and Sunday. Nigga, what are you gonna do about that? I'm sorry. Look, I'm a vegetarian. I don't even eat it. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, like, come on, you can't. Like, I wrote 3 papers on obesity in college.
Right.
It was too easy.
It's crazy.
Once they got that pass, bro, it was
It's
not-
shooting fish in
Yeah.
a barrel. And
It's
like I
over.
say, when at the time I had a big garden, when I lived in Troy, I had a big garden in the back of my house. I was raising cattle, all this other kind of stuff. People come to the house to eat and they be like, "Wow, it tastes good, but it tastes different." I say it's clean.
Yeah.
And them chemicals ain't in it. It's
You
healthy.
taste the difference
You know-
immediately.
That's right.
If you go to
And I
Germany
had-
right now, I don't mean to cut you off, Wizzo,
Go ahead,
but if
go
you go
ahead.
to Germany right now and you order you a hamburger from McDonald's, a McRoyale, you're going to think it's a whole different restaurant
Right.
because they're not allowed to do
They're
the
not
things that
allowed
they
to
can
put
do
the
over here.
bullshit in it. Right.
And I had a cousin of mine who's been on my podcast before because she lives in Atlanta, I believe, and she grows her own food and she teaches you to grow food, and she sells seeds and all this type of stuff, and it tastes so much better
That's
than
right.
and she said you don't even need much to grow your own foods. She teach you how to grow it out of just the damn pot that it
That's
came
right.
in.
You can
And,
do
you
it
know,
in an
and-
apartment.
Yeah, exactly. And I follow this one guy on Facebook or something, and he's teaching me. I always read the labels, but I never really know whether I was reading or paying attention to it. So he kind of broke it down, and over here on this label, this box of macaroni for a rice, for example, it's got 10 different ingredients, shit I can't even pronounce. But then over this other bag of rice, it says rice and one other thing, that's
What's
it.
in the rice?
Water.
Rice.
Water.
Right.
That's right.
And we have
Water,
all this
nigga.
other shit that we can't pronounce and stuff like that.
Right.
So but we're so hooked to doing that. So, now we kind of got to get to reading labels and finding that out that all that shit is really not good for us. And it's another lady that I used to work with, and she was from Germany, and she was the one that told me, she say, Paul, the stuff that's here, it wouldn't
It'll
make it over
kill you.
there.
It's
It
illegal.
doesn't.
It's illegal.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
illegal. And
Yeah,
other
so-
countries too. We talk about Germany, but other countries too. It's
That's right.
illegal.
Yeah. And
Can't
Jason,
use
you said something about that before, and I think you talked about a bag of Fritos or some shit like that on one of the other podcasts that's got all this shit in it that's
Yeah.
over here in the U.S., but over in wherever it's not. You know, and they get
And
away
that
with it.
tells you, and it's the same companies producing it. So if
Yeah.
you don't have to put it out there,
Right
for
there,
them,
Jay.
you know
Exactly.
it's illegal. Why are they putting it here? Because the government sold us out.
Yep.
Mhm.
We are the product.
Even
Kids
Coca-Cola.
they're eating Takis,
Yeah.
they're gonna die eating that shit.
Even Coca-Cola.
That's right.
But honestly, some people like that shit. Like I hate to say it, but
Because they
like
don't
that
know
shit.
better.
It's a
Yeah.
dopamine hit. It's no different than doing drugs.
Crackheads love crack.
Feel good.
Yeah, that's true. But see, look, this is what I tell people when you grocery shop, man. The front is for entertainment, the back is for information. So when you grab that shit, the front is gonna get you. It's your job to turn it around and look.
And let me tell you this. I used to raise cattle, and a lot of people don't realize that, especially in this country, cattle suffer from cancer at as much of a rate as humans do. So their eye will bulge out, or they'll get a big mass on the side of them, and the vet will tell you that's cancer. When that happens, I'm rushing them in their trailer, and I'm taking them to Waco to Hillshire Farms, and they're going to chop them up, and they're going to be sausages in your HEB tomorrow, so I can salvage my money. You know what I didn't do? I didn't eat my meat from the grocery store. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
when the option is, you can have this pile of shit with sesame seeds on it. You can have this pile of shit with salt and pepper, or you can put sugar on this pile of shit, but all your choices are a pile of shit, and you got to eat. You see what I'm saying? That's what they're giving us in the grocery store. That's why it's important to grow your own stuff as much as possible.
Man,
It's
Jason,
very important for you to go to a meat market before you go get your meat at the back of that grocery store.
Correct.
Because, I'm going to go buy a roast. What are you going to do with a roast? Knowledge, again, being power. Slice it up, and now you got steaks. You see what I'm saying? But people don't know that. Yeah, it's going to be a little bone in there, but you don't know that. It takes somebody else to teach you that. But it's that simple. And then once you know, what is your child going to see you doing for the next 18 years? And what are they going to do?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to tell their spouse, hey,
Muscle
we're not
memory.
eating that. My daddy would have never fed me that.
Right.
You see
but
what
they
I'm saying?
also learn from that, Jason, because like you said,
Absolutely.
you go to the meat market, it might have a bone in there that's big, but when you go to the grocery store, why is it always just that beautiful red?
Because they
Huh?
diet for
They,
you.
they dye it.
Good
And
for
not
you.
only do they dye it, if it gets past the expiration,
That's
they
correct.
juice it up a little bit, put a new expiration date on it.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
They wash it off with a little bleach and water and then get back in that package, right?
Yep.
All they got to do is move product. They drug
That's it.
dealers.
That's
They
it.
move product.
They're good at what they do, though. I'll give them credit.
Oh, they real good.
They'll tell you something is 3 pounds. You put it on the scale, it'd be 2.5.
Yeah.
They cheat.
2 or 3/4.
That's right.
Yeah, Walmart got food for that, I think, already or something like that. For
You notice they don't even weigh your stuff no more. They just put it on there and get the number. Oh, you got 3 of these onions. They remember they used to weigh them back in the day. They don't even weigh them because they know they're lying to you.
Mm-hmm.
Nigga, they know
You
you
know-
still gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and I teach my kids a little bit now. My daughter, she just had a baby girl, and I let them know from just reading and stuff that I've learned now. And I tell my daughter, I said, baby, everything that we fed y'all growing up wasn't good for you.
That's
All
right.
that processed shit, all of that, just reading the label, just trying to teach her. And I always talk to them about break the cycle,
That's right.
And I let her know, baby, you got to read the label, and you got a baby girl, my granddaughter, my youngest one, and you have to try to change some of that shit up because it's just not no fucking good for you.
And we have to know how to read a label.
Yes.
A lot of us have not been taught how to read the label.
Oh,
We don't know that the first thing is the most of what's in there, and the last thing is just a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff like that. If we can't pronounce it, we just think, oh, it's okay. But if you start Googling some of that stuff, do you see how much the government allows how much arsenic is in orange juice?
I saw that shit.
Arsenic.
Yeah.
And we know that's a killer. You know what I mean? From the 80s. You know what I'm saying?
What's crazy is you get some orange juice, and the word orange juice is at the bottom of the list.
That's right.
What the hell? What's,
Right.
I thought this was orange juice. Everything else before the orange juice? Come on, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
They put a little drop of juice in there for you.
Yeah.
At least they
Bring
do.
the towel out.
That's the least they could do. There was one dude like, hey,
On
give him,
the
at least
side.
give him a little juice. Damn, nigga. Like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can call it orange juice now. Rules been changed.
Already.
25.
Crazy.
Hey guys, check it out. We're approaching about almost that 2-hour mark. So what I like to do is and it went by so fast, and I got all kind of damn notes over here and shit. I'm gonna watch this again too. But I like to go around right quick and just get some closing comments from everybody. And I'm gonna come over there with my comedian Mel first. And everybody in the comments, D, Rice, we appreciate y'all watching and the comments that y'all dropping in and everything like that. So Mel, what you want to close out with?
I want to say thanks again, man. It's always a pleasure going on here, man. This is I'm not the most patriotic like my boy Orvie, but this is the country I live in, and this is the real America. What we're doing right now, this is the real definition of what that term is supposed to be. Is your platform and what we're doing right now. And it was a pleasure to always be on again on all apps, Melvin Derrico, Facebook, Instagram, etc. And I'm looking forward to the next one, man. I appreciate it, and it was a pleasure being on with these guys.
All right, that's what's up. OB, what you got for us, man?
Hey, man, I'm all-American all day, but I'm going to tell you like this, man. This is the most all-American conversation we can have. No matter what anybody thinks about America, how they feel about it. When you look at that preamble and what it meant, they get mad, the ones that call themselves patriots, but this is what it's about. Us coming together, we the people, united to have a conversation. And I can't thank you enough for having this platform for brothers from different aspects of different viewpoints to actually sit here and actually engage with each other with the binders down. Nothing makes me feel better than being able to have a real conversation and being able to, give a jab and take a jab. But at the end of the day, we're all united for what we want. So thank you again, Wizzo. I appreciate it. And brothers, man, I really, from the bottom of my heart, really enjoy having this conversation with y'all because we don't get to do that enough.
Likewise.
Right. All right, JP, what you got for us, man?
Oh man, I appreciate you for having me on. I'm glad it was able to work it into my schedule and have my schedule work in for y'all. I enjoyed the conversation, man. I get envious watching the shows, and I'm not a part of it, And he usually asks me, and I'm like, man, I can't, man, but I'll be tuned in, and I get envious. So I'm glad I could take part in this one, man. I enjoyed and would love to come back whenever. So whenever I'm available to do so, whenever I'm invited back, I definitely do so. I enjoyed all the different points of view. I enjoy that we can have different points of view and still come to an agreement and get things done as brothers. I appreciate that.
Shout out to 7 too. I give him a lot of shit.
Yeah,
I just don't want to kill everybody. Shout out to 7.
It ain't everybody. It's just white folks.
Yeah. Steps on a whole nother level. That's my partner, dog. I work with it. But like I said, guys, I really, really, really appreciate you guys taking the time out to come on Wizzo Talk. I know each one of y'all, except for Melvin personally. Melvin, I know you through my son and all that, and you always ready to go and come on and share different points of view. So I appreciate you guys like checking in. Appreciate all my guest viewers watching. Sorry, I couldn't even get it out. Shit. And whether they watching it now or whether they watching it later, remember that it's also free to like, share, and subscribe. I will say this, Arvie, you mentioned barbershop talk off in there, and I asked you, could I rename my random barbershop talk because of what you had brought up about going in the barbershop and talking and sitting down, But I will say this, I go into a barbershop now, which I don't really go in there because I cut it myself and bald. But before that, I go in there now and it's hip-hop music, it's the videos, the fuck video. It is freaking crazy in the barbershop now. So it's not like when we come up and we was going in there and having that conversation, So it's didn't change, and it's just a big 360. I don't go in there now, but I went there and I invited a guy to come on barbershop talk and stuff like that, but he didn't want to. But my point is, it's totally different, and so maybe that's why that's conversation I go on. I had another point with that, but I'm gonna say this also. So now it kind of gave me an RBI. I text you about it earlier. After I had the ladies on the show the other day and the men versus the women, it kind of gave me an idea about beauty shop talk. So what I'm going to do is I'm right now. I already started a little text. And I'm inviting ladies and ladies to come on this same platform, and then we'll just have some beauty shop talk where it's just a whole bunch of random stuff, and I'll pick people from just all different where get different points of view. So that's just kind of what next coming up.
I
Arby,
think that's outstanding, man. I think that's outstanding.
Appreciate it.
Be
Arby, I
careful.
got you next month on a one-on-one up close. I have another lady that's coming up talking about life insurance and different things. And Jason, you got me going to look up for 529 because shit,
Yeah, do that. You got
my
grandkids.
grandbaby. Shit.
That's how it's supposed to happen, damn it. That's how it's supposed
It's
to
so
happen.
crazy because my
Yes.
aunt and my dad just brought that up to me. They like 3 days apart a week ago.
Yeah.
Like because he's approaching a year. So the fact that it's collective, and I had to tell my aunt because my aunt was like, "You should do this. I feel bad that I didn't know," and she said, "I feel stupid that I didn't know for my kids." And I said, "You can't be upset at yourself for information you didn't know, nor your parents."
Exactly.
Facts.
Hey, start a family trust. That's the way to go. It costs you about $200-300. Go to a lawyer, get a family trust going. You take care of your family.
Most definitely. Guys, I appreciate you guys, and we will do it again, and I'll see you guys next time.
All right,
Until
man.
then, it's Paul Wizzo. I'll let you boy.
Is there
Yes, sir.